All right, guys, let's get into this. A topic nobody is talking about and an answer you won't expect because only the anti fragile investors will survive and thrive in the coming market. Let's get into it. From retirement accounts to potato farming, diversifying your position and holdings makes you anti fragile. Why would real estate be different? It's not. Keeping things simple has always worked well for me. In simple terms, I view my real estate investing as either hold or flip. But if you listen to the gurus, half of them tell you hold rentals because passive income is king. Don't trade your time for dollars, but the other 50% say flip houses. Tenants are a nightmare. Flipping is easy, fast money. Jump in, the water's warm. We got Kool-Aid. So, which way will truly deliver all that it promises, and who can you trust? How do you decide? And why do gurus lie? So, in this video, I'll show you the single biggest mistake investors make in this decision, based on my 2 decades of studying investors, the most profitable approach to choosing your investment vehicle, and how to become anti-fragile so you can survive and thrive in the coming market. And why do gurus lie? So, gurus are so divided between rentals and flips, never the twain shall meet, because they tell what they sell and they leave the parts out that conveniently make their products look the best. It's an old trick, but all this misinformation convinces some investors there's only two ways to make money in real estate. You're either a boring landlord who holds bags of tenants for 30 years, or you're a chaotic flipper churning through deals like a slot machine. Pick a lane and stay in it. Try to do both and you'll fail. But look, guys, we don't follow the crowd, so don't fall for that old BS about staying in your lane. A one-string banjo only can play a few songs. An investor with limited skills is kind of like that. An investor who limits his income is kind of like that. So I'm guessing you're not like everyone else, because that's why you're interested in leveraging real estate instead of a JOB. We don't get paid for the hour. We get paid for the value we bring to that hour. That's why we get the $25,000 checks for an hour at closing and an hour signing the documents with the seller and buyer doing the flip your way rich. So next, I'm going to show you how you can massively increase the value you bring to every hour, every day. And in this video, there is nothing for sale. There's nothing to buy. So full transparency. I am here opening up my business as a show of gratitude, as a debt of gratitude, because of where I am, what I become. I did 4,000 deals at Housebuyer, kept the best, flipped the rest, and built a $12 million portfolio. But the important part of that, what I just read, is not the deals. It's not my portfolio size. It's the second line. That's what helps me and my clients the most. How I kept the best and flipped the rest. Because what if I told you that the single biggest mistake investors are making is not picking the wrong niche, it's refusing to mix them. By doing only rentals or only flips, it leaves about 50% of your deal opportunities and your income opportunities on the table for another more ambitious investor. You're cutting half of your operating capacity in half. So trying to decide between a passive landlord and a wholesale flipper is a false dilemma, because it says there's only two paths. It's a either or, and that's not the case in real life. And it costs you some serious money, and it limits your market reach and your network. If you're seen as a one-trick pony, you're not going to get the referrals. You're not going to get the leads. There's a much better, safer, more profitable way. And as president of RIA and coaching investors for over 2 decades, I studied a lot of businesses, a lot of investor models, a lot of plans, the big ones, the small ones. I found there's investors who were niche diversified always made more money. I found those who only do one niche typically burned out, left out, ran out. Doing both rentals and flipping allows variety, and this variety keeps you sharper. It prevents that fatigue that causes bad decision making. So, in short, a niche diversified investor can weather the storms, the market's ups and downs, the interest rate fluctuations, and handles the psychological aspect better, the mental game. So the most common question I get is, what's the most profitable move you can make right now? And the answer is combining rentals with flipping, and I'll show you how to do it correctly in a minute. The same way that I do many of my deals and then build my portfolio. So running both models simultaneously creates a cash flow loop that neither could achieve on their own. You become anti-fragile. It's like the yin and the yang. The first step towards being anti-fragile is passive income. So this is where I started. Passive income flows in without much effort, but dealing with tenants and the money to buy the property can be tough. If you hate the thought of tenants, which I do, or you don't have the money or the credit for bank loans, I completely understand. I was there. I started broke out of my parents' basement, working a dead-end job. I get it. Today, I don't deal with tenants. Toilets are turnover, and I don't go to banks. Not because I don't have the money, it's because I don't like banks. Instead, I have a system to outsource all the stuff I don't like doing. More on that in a moment. And I use alternative acquisition options to own property without banks, credit, or using my own money. I explained exactly how I do that and how I ended up firing my boss, designing a life I don't have to escape from. I don't need to take vacations from. I can travel, but I give you all this in the video. How a high school dropout, me, voted most likely not to succeed. Now lives a lifestyle of time and location freedom, predictable passive income, independent of market fluctuations, and independent of banks that I hate, without credit or money. And I want to give you the video and this playbook. And this is the playbook with my step-by-step, dead simple steps. Again, I'm not the smartest guy out there. I just dedicated 1 to 2 hours a day at my job doing the things that are in this playbook, and it worked. Simple steps I took. I escaped the rat race, fired my boss. This is how I made my first million. It's in here, and eventually working now just 4 hours a week from anywhere in the world. So hit the link below for the playbook and that recording. So before you do that, I want to show you something I built. This was back when I was at my job deciding what to do. Real estate was known to me. It wasn't the thing. I was looking at commodities, oil, gas, natural gas, diamond mines, franchises. I show you this because it's important, because what I just described, the passive income lifestyle, has competition for your time and attention you need to be aware of. So, on my journey to making my first million, I studied the requirements of all the best investment opportunities I just mentioned, and I found each opportunity required 4 main areas from me. My time required, the amount of money, we're talking like franchises back then were $400,000. Now a McDonald's, Subway, $800,000 plus the location, the real estate. There's an area of my skill and talent needed to do the thing. And then my salesmanship, my ability to get out, present, and close. I call this the millionaire matrix, and it helped me determine the fastest road to build wealth with the least risk and the least time requirement, because again, I had a job still. So I'm providing it here so you can see not all niches are created equal. As you evaluate the opportunities to build wealth and become an anti-fragile investor, carefully compare where you're going to diversify. Diversification in your portfolio and in your niche is important, but where? So check this out. Rental properties number 2 with some asterisks, and you can get the full blown up one and explanation of this in that playbook. The asterisk next to 1, or the first one in time, is because it is a very high time, super high time chasing tenants. That'll make you an old man quick. there's an asterisk there, because if you do then outsource it, which I call smart sourcing, it lowers it down to low, if not none, depending on your criteria, on how you define it. Same asterisk over here for money. If you need your own money or a bank to buy these properties, high amount of money you're going to need just for the down payment, 20%. And then you're capped. We won't even go down this rabbit hole, but you can't build a big portfolio using banks. Then you got to jump up to commercial banking. And when I reached that point, I sat down with a commercial banker. He literally looked at my portfolio, looked at my accounts. He said, I've passed kidney stones bigger than your business. And I never did get that loan. He's kind of an asshole about everything. But the third asterisk next to sales, medium, you got to be good at explaining, presenting, showing the rental, unless, again, you outsource that. And then you got to worry about it. Now, that first column, how I flip houses, this is the competition for your passive income. And I say competition, but really it's more like a compatible partner. These are the two I decided on. These are the two that made me my money, got me into a position where I am. The others didn't fit me, to each his own. I'm going to explain why it worked for me and how, if you like what you hear, do it yourself. So the two distinct parts, passive income and flipping, they feed one another. To complement my rental portfolio, this second part is my business stronghold, flipping. So I'm giving you the exact steps, explaining how I flip houses to make more money than my doctor. And I say that because it's in the video on, I was having a conversation with my doctor. He's not liking his position, the drama, the politics, the time, the risk, the malpractice insurance. And he wants to get into real estate. He likes what I was doing. I'm going to explain how I did it so exact. I'm going to explain that the girl who was recording the video you're going to get started doing what I'm doing. She just basically copied me. She went from zero, a newbie, to 4Xing her income and fired her boss. Her boss was me. She was my personal assistant. And what really drew her wasn't necessarily the 5-figure paychecks. She saw those on a consistent basis, working for me month after month after month. Every week she'd see them, and she was like fascinated and confused on the fact that I didn't buy the property and I didn't sell the property, and my out-of-pocket was zero. She was a numbers girl. She did the math, and she said, mathematically, your rate of return is infinite. Now, how can that be? Because I had zero down and I made $25,000. So during the drive down to meet the buyer, she had a ton of questions. I just basically said, look, hit record, ask your questions. I went step by step how I flip houses. So now you can have that exact recording that started her on her career. And I'm also including a fast start roadmap that unfolds this path, because it's simple. It's easy, but there are a lot of things to do, which is why I was training her on how to do some of the things. Because there are a lot of moving parts. Nothing technical. Again, guys, if I can do it, you can do this easily. Not a lot of training. So again, for this, the second part, I'll pop a link below after the video, get it. Wrapping up, here's how my system runs today and how you can just basically copy me and my success. I've made my business, or I've made my money in the least, most of my money, in the least time when I became a multifunctional investor. This is where things just took off. As a multifunctional investor, I do both rentals and flips because each niche feeds the other. Each balances the leverage, risk mitigation, and operational synergy, like yin and yang I mentioned. So I can do more deals, and I can outsource the stuff I don't like in each niche, and I'm not trading time for money. I built a system, and here's how the system runs. I use smart sourcing. I don't trade time for dollars. My back offices manages the books and the crooks. so I can focus on deal flow. My crew, they handle the rehabs and repair. I call them my guru crew. I've got them in my black book, whatever I need. The most crazy stuff in the world happens at these properties. Murder, suicide, meth. We just go in there, clean it up. I write a check. We've got a joke in my coaching that the tool I use most often is my checkbook. It's true. It works. It's the miracle tool. I can get anything done with it. And I use alternative acquisition options. My capital is not locked up. My equity is not tied into the walls of my rental property. I don't use banks. No money, no bank, no problem method. So I can buy and own more than my wallet and credit can afford because I don't have to prove to somebody I've got X amount to cover, or I have to put down 20%, or I've got reserves and then credit. And then every time I get into the loan, it dings my credit and it raises my debt to income. It's a joke. And finally, I use multifunctional investing. It's my portfolio, my business, and system. They're not just diversified, it's anti-fragile. Robust investors survive shock. Anti-fragile investors get better because of it. It's a system that keeps building on itself. Every time there's a problem, we fix it and put it in the system. Every time something works, there's a profit center, we put it in the system. It's a track to run on. Because rentals and flipping rarely move in tandem with each other. Combining them provides true insulation from black swan events. Guys, the red lights are flashing. This is just like, it's eerily similar to 2007, 2 decades ago. By the way, we go in a 20-year cycle in real estate. So things are going to be getting interesting. I designed my business not only to withstand the economic shocks, but to profit from them. And I love volatility. I do the same for my clients, and it looks like this. The 3 pillars of multifunctional investing. Attract the right prospects. I don't sell. My girls in the back doesn't sell. We don't have to be salesmen. My marketing from my lead generation engine pre-sells them. The folks come to us 95% sold. They have some questions. They just want to be clear on a few details. Times, money, prices, things like that. Do I qualify? This works. And I'm talking about selling, buying, wholesaling to other investors. I even use this lead generation for my home support team, which I call to continually get qualified contractors, cleaners, the people, my team. The lead generation engine is a $1 million marketing without the cost. Next is converting those people, converting the tenants, the sellers, the buyers, the wholesalers to happy clients. And how I do that is with the irresistible offer and the offer chassis. So this goes from the very first point of contact after they come in from the lead generation engine. The offer chassis is like a conveyor belt that gives them the right offer at the right time with the right words. It has everything spelled out. The closes, what to say, how to say it, scripts, everything you need to convert prospects to happy clients. And then the third is delivery, or I like to say deliveries, because it's easy. This is where most investors don't have an idea of where to start, how to do it. This is where I help a lot of people right here. So the Business Power Pro is the systems to run your business profitably. It's the processes. It's the checklists. I've got checklists before I sell a house, after I sell a house. I've got a post-sale house checklist that makes me sometimes as much money as the house we just flipped. I call them phantom flips because they literally make me money out of thin air. So these checklists, this is what builds a robust, anti-fragile business. So when I have an assistant leave, I can just give the new one the paperwork. And we're up and running in a week after some onboarding. So this multifunctional investing works in all niches and all markets because it's rooted in human psychology and proven business fundamentals. I like to say it's based on psychology, not geography. This isn't just something that works in a few areas. It works in Canada. It works in South America, actually. More on that later. I do have 2 spots coming available. We have 2 people graduating, so they'll be leaving. I wanted to mention that me and my stuff are going to be available if you're interested. If you think this would help, drop me a link, and 99% of my clients achieve what they want by using what I got. But if we don't do business, look, at least you get a bunch of free stuff you can try. I think it's going to do a lot for you. I've seen it happen over the years of using everything. I'm living an example of it. So, look, I wish you the best. Reach out for me if there's anything you need.